And let's be real, unless you guys have a big sugar daddy sitting around somewhere that's funding your business, I mean, most of us do not have all the funds available to be able to do like 10 marketing initiatives as one time.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. S.O.B as in small-owned business. I promise we are not calling you guys names. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. Thank you so much for listening. We would love it if you left a review. Reviews help us get in front of other small business owners, and that's our goal, to help you guys feel comfortable and confident when it comes to running your own marketing. If you have a topic that you want us to discuss, then go ahead and send us a DM. You can also email us at help@theseasonedmarketer.com, but honestly, DMs are so much easier, right? So just send us a DM. We want to talk about whatever you guys want to hear about. And y'all, we understand that you are busy. If you do not have time to listen to this entire episode right now, then skip to our TLDL chapter. Too long, didn't listen. We get it. But later on, when you have the time, please go back and listen to this entire episode. I promise our ramblings are not just to hear ourselves talk. It's to help you guys with your marketing.
First off, happy holidays, everybody. Whatever it is that you might be celebrating this November or this time of year. Today,
It's definitely December.
Oh. This December, I'm sorry.
Happy Spotify Wrapped to everyone who celebrates. I'm having a great time. Obviously, we're recording before this comes out. So today, the day of our recording, is when Spotify Wrapped came out. So
yeah, can we also talk about too how they've done this for creators? So what was interesting is, for one, I loved opening up my personal Spotify to see exactly who I was listening to. And it's interesting because I was thinking about how we often talk about customization and everything, and how brilliant Spotify is to, at this point, all they're doing is taking the data they're collecting from us, right? And they're wrapping it in this nice little package and then feeding it back to us. And they know how self-absorbed we are and how much we love it. And so I love that they're doing this. They've made it a tradition now. Everybody looks forward to getting it. And if you are a fellow podcaster or you're thinking about podcasting, just to let you know, they also do this for podcasts, for creators. So Chelsea and I spent some time today kind of looking over our stats on how, where our audience is coming from and all that. And the packaging on it was impeccable. So Spotify, thank you so much for that. We love learning more about our habits and the habits of our audience.
Yes, absolutely. So Vivian, let's try this one more time. What are we talking about today? What's the actual topic for this episode?
Okay, so we are going to do a take on the Advent calendar. So you know how typically it's 12 days of Christmas, all of that. We are turning this into, what do you want to call it? Like 12 days of actionable marketing tips for 2025 or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
can I say, first off, an Advent calendar is December 1st through the 25th, okay? So it's 25 days, so this isn't really an Advent calendar. 12 days of Christmas. When Vivian and I were talking about this, coming up with topics, and we wanted to do 12 days of Christmas, I got it wrong. We got it wrong, Vivian. The 12 days of Christmas is from Christmas to New Year's Eve. That's what those 12 days are.
Oh, so it's a song about post-Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, news to me. I always thought it was like 12 days. The song was about 12 days leading up to Christmas. I mean, just
That's what
goes
I thought too, but I looked it up the other day and I saw that and I was like, I'm not going to bring it up until the actual day that we're recording.
Listen, typically I don't encourage what do you call it? Bullying. But if you guys want to bully us in the comments about this, please do. I mean, we deserve it at this point. The fact that we are the age that we are and we do not know what the 12 Days of Christmas song is leading up to. So, going back to the topic though, for those
Mhm.
listeners out there, what we're going to do today is we are going to dissect and do our own spin on the 12 Days of Christmas. And so, what we're hoping and what I encourage you to do right now is if you're a small business owner, we want you to save this podcast episode in hopes that in 2025, you will come back and listen to this maybe every 3 months because there are some actionable things that we're recommending and suggesting that you could do throughout the year that we think will help you stay on top of your marketing. And we've given this some thought. So we think that the ideas or the recommendations we have are pretty good. And remember, you guys are hearing this from two marketing professionals, two gals whose jobs were to stay on top of marketing. So if nobody better to tell you like, hey, if you want to keep a pulse on your marketing as a small business owner, here are the top things that you should be doing every once in a while.
Okay, so on the first day of marketing Christmas, I guess, our number one tip, the most important marketing rule that I will die on is you need to know your target audience. If you don't know your target audience, your marketing is not going to work, period.
Agree. And I think that's probably the biggest it's the hardest thing to do. And the reason I'm
Yeah.
going to say this is because I know it as a small business owner, you guys. Sometimes we get caught up in some of the stuff that isn't as important. And it's not that we do that purposefully, it's just over time because you're in the trenches, you're just getting by, you don't have a whole lot of time because you are running your business on top of planning and doing your marketing. Like it's a lot to keep up with. And so I think sometimes we get so bogged down by trying to keep up with the latest trends or doing what we think is going to grow our business. And we maybe overlook the fact that knowing our target audience is most important. And the thing that I want to bring up here and just remind you guys is that just like small businesses change, just like you as a human being evolve over the years. I mean, I hope you do. I hope you're not the same person you were at, bratty 15 self. Like just like we grow as people, so does your target audience. And the reason your target audience does that is because they are in an environment that is consistently changing over time. Look at how much technology changes. Look at how people are consuming content. Look at how much they're not watching cable TV anymore, but now they're streaming services. Now they're finding information on TikTok. Whoever thought that would be the case? People change over time. So checking in throughout the year is a good idea just to be sure that you have a good handle on who your target audience is and perhaps how they're maybe changing or evolving over time.
Exactly. And let's make a point of if you ever feel like you don't know what you're doing with your marketing or you're not sure if something's a good idea, go back to your target audience. Look at your target audience. Will this work for them? So, just if you feel like you're getting a little iffy when it comes to your marketing, go back to that number one rule.
Yes. All right. So on the second day of marketing Christmas, our recommendation is going to be to tweak tricks to tweak your marketing initiatives at least twice based on data. All right.
Mhm.
So this is what we mean by this. When you start a marketing initiative, sometimes, let's say you're doing something as simple as print ads. Okay. So you got an ad out in your local newspaper or a local magazine. Be sure that you're able to tie metrics back to that particular ad. And every once in a while, check in on that data to see how that ad is performing. Tweak it based off of that data. All right. So if you have an ad that is underperforming, change the ad copy, change the ad design. All right.
A great example for digital marketing is, let's say you have a digital ad going, and looking at the data, you see that the people who are interacting the most with that ad is of a specific age group. Go ahead and tweak that ad so that it aligns more with that age group, so you'll get even more interaction.
Yeah, and the key here is really gonna be we want you guys to get in the habit of understanding that successful marketing is a lot of pivoting, all right?
Mhm.
So the thing is, what you're doing essentially is, you guys are little experimenters. You're scientists, yeah, and so what you do is you put something together, what you think is gonna work based off the data and the information that you have at hand based on who your target audience is and what the particular marketing initiative is, but rarely are you gonna hit a home run the first try, and so what we want you to get in the habit of is simply putting something out there, looking at what the data says, the information says, and then tweaking, pivoting, adjusting as you need to in order to improve that ad. And so this should be a cycle of continuous improvement based off of information, not just based off of like I feel or I think, but based off of what the actual results are showing you.
Yeah, marketing is starting with an idea and then pivoting based off of, like, concrete evidence.
Yeah.
Like, you should not be tweaking your ad because, "I have a feeling that they'd prefer this." Don't we Yes, we want you to tweak your ads, we want you to tweak your ads with data.
Well, and really I think you eliminate most of that. Remember that we always tell you guys we want you to feel super confident about what you're doing in your marketing. Nothing is going to make you more confident than you saying, I know who my audience is. I know what their preferences are because I have information that backs that up. And therefore, I'm able to make the best decisions with all of my marketing initiatives over time because I'm able to couple and to connect that information. So I'm able to take the information I know about this audience and I'm able to provide them the best ad that's going to get them to click, to purchase, to sign up for my email list, whatever that is.
And talking about initiatives, let's go ahead and do the third day of Marketing Christmas, which is going to be pick 3 initiatives to do at a time. Okay, so don't overcommit yourself. We want you guys to experiment. We want you guys to try new things, but don't try 50 new things because you are limiting yourself and you're making it way too difficult on yourself to really optimize and do your best at each of these initiatives. So, magic number 3, stick to maybe 3 initiatives at a time that you can sit down and really polish and tweak and get good results with.
And let's be real, unless you guys have a big sugar daddy sitting around somewhere that's funding your business, I mean, most of us do not have all the funds available to be able to do like 10 marketing initiatives as one time. And so it's nice when you narrow it down to 3 because for one, you're able to keep up with it. Okay. You're able to every once in a while, like we're telling you, go back and look at the data, pivot, adjust. And it's also going to help you concentrate your efforts on growing something the right way. There is something really effective or something happens whenever you concentrate your efforts on fewer projects than when you stretch yourself too thin and you're trying to do too much. And we all know this. I don't care how good of a multitasker you are. It's going to be harder for you to keep up with 15 different things. Could you do it? Absolutely. Could you do it well? Probably not. Okay, something's going to slip through the cracks. And so our purpose in telling you guys, "Hey, you know what? Stick to 3 marketing initiatives to focus on as you go." It doesn't mean that you can't change those 3 up, but we want you to see those 3 to fruition and kinda get it under your belt so that you feel confident that you have it kind of like on autopilot, and then you don't have to worry about it as much, but you should be nurturing, when you're starting an initiative, you should be checking in on it, you should be ensuring that you're doing, what needs to be done, and then you can move on and just, based on the results, you can decide if you want to keep that or if you want to do away with it and try something different.
As we always say, don't be afraid to try something different, please.
Yes. Now, moving on to on the fourth day of Marketing Christmas, we are going to recommend that you guys check in on your marketing plan 4 times a year. Okay, so that's once a quarter. And the reason we want you to do this is because we do understand that sometimes it could be overwhelming to create a marketing plan for an entire year. So if putting it into smaller, bite size, what do you call it? Portions, like quarterly helps, then we want you to do that. And so at least 4 times a year, we want you to go back to that marketing plan and say, "Hey, is this working? Is this still the direction I wanna go into? And has anything in my business changed to where I would have to update my marketing plan?"
Yeah, you do not have to make a yearly marketing plan. Like Vivian just said, you can make a quarterly one, or you could have a yearly marketing plan. Whatever you decide to do, we just want you guys to continuously check up on your marketing. So try once a quarter, 4 times a year, go back and say, you know what, actually, my goals have changed, or actually, my target audience has changed. That can happen. But we want you guys to make sure that you're checking up on what's going on with your business and your marketing.
And also your environment. So here's the other thing, Chelsea, is you and I just recently this morning, we were talking about there's a coffee shop that just opened up down the road from where I live. You were telling me that there's a new business out in North Charleston. And so the environments change in small business landscape anyways. And so one of the things that you want to be considering too with a marketing plan is you want to be looking at what we call a SWOT analysis, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And when you're going through that exercise, you want to consider who your competitors are or what new competition may be in the area for that. And I don't mean just like they have to be in your same industry, but if you have so what I'm thinking of is here locally, Chelsea and I go to a cafe that's a little further down the road. That was the only type of coffee, little cafe thing that we had in this area because I live out in the boonies for some time. Okay, so that was our go-to. Now we have a coffee shop that just opened up closer. So if I'm that little cafe, I'm thinking I need to be sure that I revisit my marketing plan to now adjust and include the fact that now there's another coffee option in the area and that I may have to do something a little different for my promotions because now I have a competitor that's down the street. And not that you need to base everything you do off of your competition, but it's unrealistic to not include that.
Yes, I'm so glad that you brought that up. I have 2 things. First thing, we're talking a lot about marketing plans right now. If you don't feel comfortable with marketing plans, we do have 2 episodes specifically about creating a marketing plan and why you need a marketing plan. So go listen to those if you're feeling a little iffy. A marketing plan is definitely something that you need to consider if you want to take your small business seriously and if you want to take your marketing seriously. Second thing is just a little fun story. I was in Georgia recently visiting Tim's family, and Tim's grandmother, Mama, that's what they call her, which I've
Why did you say it like that?
that's how you say it,
Mama.
Mama, right?
I know,
Mama?
but it kinda sounded like you were telling me, like, The Godfather, we call
Well,
him mama.
well, no, okay, like, we call our grandmother, grandmother, abuela, like, I've never it's something to get now I'm used to it because 'cause it's been 10 years, but, like, when I first heard mama, I was like, "What is this?" But love her, she's wonderful. I cannot have caffeine, and that is something that she has never remembered, and so every morning she asks, "Do you want coffee?" And I'm like, "No, I can't have coffee. I can't have caffeine."
I feel like, you're that little child that we drop off at elementary school, and we tell the teachers, like, "Do not feed this child any candy, any sugar, because she's gonna go haywire."
And then they keep on trying to give me sugar. Yeah, exactly. But okay, so marketing plans, y'all check up quarterly. That was Number 4, your 5th day of Christmas when it comes to marketing is we want you guys to try to go to at least 5 marketing events in 2025.
Oh, gasp.
I know.
What?
I know, but look, y'all, networking is extremely important, especially for small business owners, and it can help you stay connected with your community. It's a great way to connect with your community, and I know people don't like networking. It's not that bad. As an introvert, I am an introvert, y'all. It's not that bad, and it's something that we have to do. Just try 5 times within 12 months, you can do it.
I just want to tell you guys that every single time that I go to a networking opportunity, there has not been one time where I've thought that's been a waste of my time. Not
Yeah.
once. Because I always and listen, I get it. I'm an extrovert. Chelsea over here is the introvert. I understand that, but I have never left there without meeting somebody new or somehow making a connection with a small business that then I can follow on Facebook, and then I have a face to a name. I've had a conversation with them before. It's never a waste of your time, and I'm gonna be cheesy and tell you that that's because your approach and your attitude plays a big part in how much you get out of networking events. And so if anything else, also, I'm gonna remind you that social media can only do so much. I get it. We live in a time, and I say this all the time, we live in a time where it's like all about social media. Connect with me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. Let's, watch my videos on TikTok. There is something that when you are in front of somebody, you shake their hand or you meet them, something just changes. It's different, and that connection cannot be replaced, okay? And so, I'm gonna be cheesy and just remind you that, like, there is a time and place, and it is so valuable, and you're not gonna regret it. If you do regret it, then you could come back and tell us. You can say, "Vivian, I'm charging you for an hour of my time." Because you told me to go to a networking event and it was not good. But also remember the one thing that helps tremendously, before I go to any networking event, I also understand what my purpose and my role is in showing up. So I don't just show up just like, "Hey, I'm just, doing whatever. I'm here. Hello." It's always with a purpose. Chelsea and I have attended events before, and I can tell you, we did a business after hours event like a couple years ago. And the reason it stands out to me at that time is because her and I were in a different place, in our small business at that time. And so it was interesting though, because we knew what the purpose was before we went to it together, right? And so that kind of steers the conversation. It steers the people that I kind of want to meet and get in front of. And I think it's just helpful. Number 6, on the 6th day of marketing Christmas, we want to encourage you to practice some type of gratitude 6 days a week. We are giving you 1 day to be angry, okay? We are getting you 1 day to sulk, okay? You pick if you want it to be on a Saturday, even though I don't think you should spend your weekends sulking about anything, okay? That's precious time. So
Sulk on a
instead,
Monday.
yeah, sulk on a Monday, okay? You wanna be mad at the world, do it on a Monday because that's socially acceptable. Don't take up your weekend with it. But, the reason we say this is Chelsea and I, we are 2 episodes ago, 2 or 3 episodes ago, you guys can look it up. We did an episode on gratitude and what it did for our small business. And we didn't do this thing where it was like, oh yeah, every day I'm just gonna be like, I'm grateful for X, Y, and D and Z. Instead, we integrated it into our weekly meetings, and we made it a point to be sure that it was something that we took seriously and we gave thought to, even though Chelsea does admit that she typically did not think about it until that's why she would let me go first on my gratitude practice. But what we found is it was extremely helpful in the day-to-day marketing stuff that we were doing simply because it gave you perspective long term on your initiatives, and also it increased creativity, and it did a whole bunch of other stuff for what we were doing in our small business. So if you're interested in hearing the details about that, go listen to that episode. But we want to encourage you to do the same. Figure out a way to integrate some type of gratitude at least 6 days a week. And, like we said, we'll give you 1 day off
One
to
day off.
just Yeah, do whatever.
And I understand, 6 days a week, it might be, Vivian and I talked about how we put thought into our gratitude for each of our weekly meetings, and they were more in depth. You don't have to do that every single day. You don't need an in depth reason to be grateful every single day. Well, of all those 6 days, it can be something little, but even just that little bit is so helpful to keep you focused and positive when it comes to your day-to-day running your small business. And again, we understand you can't do that every single day, so you get a little free day.
And you do get to reframe your mind a little bit. So one of the things I'll tell you, okay, when we make a mistake or something, there was an error on something, I always think to myself, because it can be hard to be grateful for that. But I always think to myself, I'm like, well, dang, I'm really glad that we caught that when we did, because had we not, it could have been expensive. Had we not, it could have led to a lot of confusion. Had we not, we would have had to do a lot more communication to clean up or to, do whatever. And so I think just even in times when you're in disastrous situations and you're like, man, it's really hard for me right now to find any gratitude in what is going on in my business. That's where the creativity comes in, because if you start to practice this 6 days a week, then, I think those are muscles that you start to train and you start to get really good at it, and you're like, "You know what? Let me just say, I hate that this happened. This shouldn't have happened, and it will not happen again on my watch. However, I'm grateful that I learned my lesson. I'm grateful that now I know I need to double check every single ad that goes out there. I'm grateful that, I need to look at my data. I now know to look at my data sooner so that I'm not wasting money on an initiative that's not getting me anywhere."
So, 7th day of Marketing Christmas, we want you guys every 7 weeks to look at your data. Notice I said every 7 weeks. Okay, not 7 days, not like 7 hours, 7 weeks. Well, Chelsea, why is it that long? Let me tell you. Because a lot of
I like that we're
times
doing a little role playing over here. You're doing both Chelsea and the listener.
I wanna make it very clear, the reason why it's this long of a time frame is because a lot of times we'll pull the plug early on initiatives because we haven't given it enough time to perform. If we're going back to the 2nd day, if we're making at least 2 tweaks to our initiatives, but then we're looking at our data a week later and pulling the plug, like, you haven't given that marketing initiative enough time to pivot, to change, and to be successful. Marketing is not overnight. Marketing is a long-term game.
It's a slow burn. Okay,
Mhm.
y'all, and we just talked about this slow burn. If you guys don't know, we have a community. It's a membership community that you could pay $50 a month to, and, like, we meet weekly on these calls, and we had this conversation with one of our members yesterday about the slow burn, and I was telling him how proud I am of him because he started a tradition this year that he plans to continue, and it's a holiday, like, promotion type thing, and he's like, he's putting it in perspective. He's like, "Look, I'm already getting engagement, but if it's not like a banger right off of the rip, then it's okay. Like, I'm willing to do it again next year because I'm starting a tradition. I want this to be something that happens in my business every year because it builds community." And I told him how proud I was of him having that mindset to begin with, just because so many people have that it needs to be done, like, it needs to go off without a hitch right now, and that rarely happens. It does happen sometimes, and more power to you if you're one of those people that everything just kinda turns to gold whenever you try it the first time. That's not me. That's not me, okay? I am the queen of a slow burn, okay? It will probably happen in my lifetime. I'm cool with it, but it's gonna take a while. So, um, yes, the 7-week period is very good because it does allow room for some of those initiatives to kind of curate and get there, and you guys all know this. Sometimes, let's say social media, you've seen it possibly where you've uploaded a reel or you've uploaded content and it's done okay, but then, like, you go back and look weeks later and you're like, "Why is this taking off?" Like, why is it
Yeah.
like, sometimes time just kind of is, your friend in that sense.
Are you a small business owner feeling overwhelmed by marketing? We understand. That's why we created the S.O.B community just for you. Imagine having access to expert marketing advice every week through our interactive Zoom calls. Network with fellow small business owners in our community, share valuable insights, and grow together. Dive into our comprehensive training videos covering everything from social media to SEO. And all this for just $50 a month. Empower your small business without breaking the bank. Join the S.O.B community today.
All right. And on the 8th day of Marketing Christmas, we are going to tell you to go ahead and write down 8 marketing strategies or initiatives that you have never tried. And we want you to pick one. Okay, because we want you to step outside of your comfort zone and outside of your normal, like what you do all the time, because we understand that it can be hard sometimes to flex those creative juices, or it can be scary to try something new, especially when you're putting money up against it. Okay, money or effort or whatever it is. And so, we want you to just to encourage you, hey, write down 8 ideas, 8 marketing things that you've never tried before, and then pick one and try it out.
Yeah, it might be perfect for your small business, but because you have never tried it and you're scared to do it, you're limiting yourself. So I loved that we added this because I feel like it's so important when it comes to marketing. Y'all, marketing, yes, it's about your target audience. It's also about getting creative and drawing in a target audience. If you guys are doing the same thing always, why would that stand out to your target audience?
And it may just interject a little bit of, I don't know, life into if you guys are like, "My marketing is boring, I don't like doing it," it's a
Yeah.
you have to do marketing for your small business. So let's try to find ways to keep it exciting and for you to actually want to do it. So let me give you an example of what this might look like. Let's say you are a business that focuses on families. You've never tried a sponsorship or you've never tried attending an event. Why don't you go ahead and look at some of the mom groups in the area? Here locally in Charleston, we have a running moms group, okay, for people that have had babies and they can bring their children, put them in strollers, and they all run together, okay? That's a great opportunity if you have a product or a service. Let's say you have a children's boutique. That's a great way for you to connect to the local community for the people that are primed to buy your products. So, think of things outside of the box that doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money, or you can sponsor. Let's say you're trying to target families, or let me give you an example. We did here locally, Physicians Group. One of the physicians actually sees peds, right? And so we partnered with the elementary school to do the hanging decals in the windows that every single parent needs to have when they drive up to the school, get in the driving line to pick up the student, right? They make sure that they have that decal. Okay, well, now it has the logo on it for that practice. And so there are small ways that you can integrate, coming up with things that maybe you haven't tried before, and you might, like Chelsea said, you may just find that they're really good ideas for you.
Yeah. So basically, this one's about getting creative. Get creative, y'all. Okay. So, 9, on the 9th day of Marketing Christmas, we want you guys 9 times a year. Okay. That's not that much. If you think about the entire year, 365 days. Okay. 9 times a year, we want you guys to reach out to other small businesses and be kind and personable. The whole goal here is to connect with fellow entrepreneurs and to grow your community. Y'all, community is so important when it comes to small businesses. It's the entire reason that we can thrive because people care about their local community. Reaching out to other small businesses, creating that relationship, it will help you grow. It will help you grow. I promise. I have a really funny story, Vivian,
Okay.
and it's related to community. Okay, so the design demon, I reached out to her first I was just buying all her jewelry. Now we're actually friends, right? Like Ray has been on the podcast a bunch of times. We're friends now. Recently, she she had messaged me, "Hey, do you live in this county?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And she's like, I found these kittens and they won't let me drop them off at the pound because I don't live in this county and my county's shelter isn't accepting animals right now. So will you come with me to drop off these kittens so that, I can actually leave them because I don't live in this county?" And so that I think that is a great example of I took the time to interact with someone, and now not only are we good business friends, but we're good friends too, and that matters a lot when it comes to community and when it comes to small businesses.
Absolutely, and I think that's where good partnerships stem from. That's where, coming from the corporate setting, it was always drilled into our heads that part of the reason that you do networking is because it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Okay, and that's a true testament in the I mean, anyone that comes from the corporate world knows that to be true. I know you guys know someone that's gotten a promotion that did not deserve a promotion, but the only reason they got the promotion was because of, some, like, elbow rubbing they did with someone. That's just how it works, and I think use that to, not in a nefarious way, but use it to your advantage, just understanding that really humans are built on connection, and we naturally are always going to want to help with somebody we know, right? So,
Yeah.
like, it just makes it a little easier to do business and also to collaborate, to do partnerships, to feed off of people. I mean, that's the whole reason we started our S.O.B, small owned business community, that membership I was talking about earlier. It was the idea that we wanted people to be able to be comfortable to go to us to, like, hop on a call and say, "Hey, I'm having a problem," or, like, "I don't have any ideas for what to post on social media. I don't even know how to create an email list. I don't know how to, like, where do I even start with this?" We wanted to build that community where, like, someone knows us well enough to know, like, I feel confident that I could come to them with this question, they're gonna give me good advice, and they're not gonna judge me, right? So it's all built on that connection.
Connection, yeah. So 9 times a year, just reach out to a fellow entrepreneur and be kind to them. Be personable. I just wanna clarify, though, y'all do not start messaging me for help donating kittens, okay? Because I almost came home with another cat, and I don't need another cat. I already have 2. That is enough for the rest of my life, okay? So don't be involving me in this anymore because Tim's gonna be so mad when I come home with another cat.
What I am hearing, though, is that you do wanna be messaged if they're donating lizards or snakes. If you guys have snakes that need to be rehomed, message Chelsea.
Ooh, I know people that would take a snake, so you know what? Sure.
Well,
I'll help you rehome
my
them.
husband being one of them, he's like a snake wrangler, he loves snakes.
Yeah, see, Vivian, you should have opened your mouth now. People are gonna message me about snakes, and I'm gonna bring them to you.
Alright, so moving on to number 10 because I wanna get past this snake conversation, creeps me out. Uh, number 10 is going to be, we want on the 10th day of marketing Christmas, we want you guys to open up your preferred social media platform right now, and we want you to interact with 10 people. Okay. The reason we want you to do this is because we want to remind you that social media is actually for socializing, which means it's a two-way street. And so think of it this way. We know from personal experience, because don't think that we aren't, that we have some type of, like, defense mechanism against this, okay? We are right there in line with you guys. There are some times that you feel like social media, you're like, "Gosh, I need to post something. I haven't shown up. I need to, X, Y, and Z." And so what you do is, like, you get on there, you post and run. Okay? I post, I did the thing, I can mark it off my list, and I'm done. But you really need to be on there replying to comments. You need to be on there priming these social media platforms, and that means you showing up and perhaps commenting on 10 different accounts of people that are your ideal customers.
If you want more interaction with your target audience on social media, guess what? You have to interact with them too.
Yeah, and let me tell you one of the things that I think also, if you guys have not made this, if this hasn't been an aha moment for you yet, let me just help you get there. I'm gonna save you a lot of time. We are marketing gals, which means that our content on our feed is marketing related. What I see some people doing in the same industry is they go and follow other marketing accounts, and then when they post something, you see in the comments that it's all like digital marketers or this and that. If that's not your target audience, then you don't need to be following other marketing accounts, okay? So for us, we had the realization we knew for some time now, like, hey, us following other marketing people is not gonna be helpful. The people that really can, find value in the resources we provide are small business owners, and that means that we need to be following small business owners. We need to be interacting and commenting and sharing stuff from small business owners because that's why we're here, right?
You might want to consider going through your followers or the people you're following and deleting people. That's what I did because when Vivian and I had this conversation of, our feed is full of marketing stuff and we don't need the marketing stuff. We want to see our target audience. So I went through and I deleted a bunch of people because we don't need to be interacting with those people. We need to be interacting with our target audience.
Absolutely, and I think that helps with, going back to the first day of marketing Christmas, we're telling you guys to know your target audience. There is nothing better for us than to actually show up and follow feeds of people that we can help the most, and the only reason, I mean, granted, we're small business owner, we know because we own a small business, but on the other side of it is how are we going to address pain points? How are we gonna know what they're struggling with or what would be a useful resource for them if we're not in their day to day? If we're not following them and saying like, "Oh, they're having that problem, maybe we could create a solution."
I have a funny example of this. I
Oh, Lord.
have
Does it
so
have anything to do with spiders or snakes or lizards?
no. Well, no. I have a lot of smaller metalcore bands that request to follow me because they can see that I follow all these other metalcore bands and I interact with them a lot. So they're like, this is our target audience. If I request to follow her, then she'll look at our page. Maybe she'll like our music and maybe she'll follow it. Like, that's kind of the idea.
This is on her personal account, by the
Yes,
way,
on the
y'all. The seasoned marketer is not following metalcore. I mean, listen, we may be because Chelsea handles most of our Instagram stuff, but the key there is brilliant on their part because, like you said, they figured out the fact that, like, hey, if she's on these other profiles and she's commenting on their content, if I comment on her stuff, she'll likely at least like click on us to see if we're her vibe,
yeah.
right? So, that's a great example and a great approach to that, but going back, we want you to, get on there, interact with 10 people just because think about it from their perspective too. As a small business owner, or let's say, like Chelsea's example, as a metalcore fan, you're like you do pay attention. You're like, "Oh, wow, that band, like, they commented on something I said, or they commented on my post, like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and reciprocate, or let me
Mhm.
at least just figure out what they're about." So it is gonna cause some intrigue on their part, and your efforts will not be wasted. Guarantee if you do that for 10 people, you're gonna at least get 1 or 2 follows from it, and from people that are your target audience,
Yes.
if you do it correctly, yes.
Yes. Okay, so for the 11th day, I want Vivian to explain this one. I'll do 12. Vivian, could you please explain your thought process for 11? Because Vivian was the one who pitched this one, and I understand it, but I feel like she's going to explain it the best. Go ahead.
I like how you just punned it over to me. All right, so for 11 days of Christmas, of marketing Christmas, this is a little bit of an exercise in visualization, okay? What I want you to do is imagine the number 11, which is basically two ones, 2 sticks, consider them sticks. Separate them, and now you have a start and a finish line, okay? And what I want you to do is we want to encourage you to, from start to finish, map out your customer journey, and I guarantee you, and you guys let me know in the comments, feel free to comment in there. If you've done it, fabulous. If you've never done this in your life, it's gonna be eye-opening, and the reason I say this is because we want you to put yourself in the shoes of a potential customer.
Vivian, I love this one. I think a lot of small businesses forget to think about this, and it's so important because understanding your customer's journey is going to help you find, your bottlenecks. It's going to help you realize, oh, actually this process is not working and I find this infuriating. How would a potential customer feel? Think about your customer's journey. They discover you. Then they, I don't know, look at an ad. They think of every step. They finally make a purchase. After they make a purchase, where are they going to go? Are they going onto an email list? Are they, you don't want to just lose them forever. You want to create a reoccurring customer. So visualizing your customer journey is, I want all of these ideas are really good. Okay. But I feel like 1 and 11, these are my 2 favorite on this list. Know your target audience and your customer journey. Those are like my top ones. If that's all you take away from this episode, it needs to be those 2.
And not that you need any more reasons to want to do this, but you're gonna find opportunities to make more money. Can I just say that? Because here's the thing, let's say, you are a coffee shop, the coffee shop that just opened up. If I'm the gentleman that is the business owner, what I'm thinking is, "Okay, I'm a new customer, I walk in, I order a coffee, what then happens post coffee ordering?" Okay? The experience I know is very good in the store, okay? Now, what needs to occur though before they walk out? Do I ask them, "Hi, would you," when they're before they pay for it, "Would you like to sign up for our email list?" Our emails, when we have a rewards program, if you put your phone number for every 10 coffees you buy, you get a free one, whatever it is, okay? Let's say they get put on an email list or on that cell phone number list, SMS list. How many times are they connecting with you outside of that? Are you sending them maybe monthly text that says, "Hey, here's the monthly drink," right, that we're promoting, "Here's a special price." Are we collecting their Chelsea, you once used this as an example of how one of your professors in college was obsessed with Starbucks because they knew his birthday. Are you collecting birthdays so that you can send them a sweet treat? "Hey, December, your birthday's coming up. Here's a free coffee on us." What are you doing, and what are the touch points so that you are staying top of mind? If you are this coffee shop owner and you are doing none of that, if you haven't even thought about it, well, now you're like, "Hey, I could probably increase my sales by a certain percentage by just doing something as simple as that. What do I need to do to start getting people on my text messaging, thing list?" Right? And then you can kinda start to play around with that.
You know what this made me think of? If you give a mouse a cookie. If I give someone a free birthday cookie, then they're gonna come in and they're also gonna get a coffee.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think what it does is it just kinda helps you to figure out where there are gaps, and not to say I'm not saying that you guys are gonna fix this all overnight and that, you have to go on this whole, like, thing, but I think knowing is the first step, right? So map out your customer journey so that you can find little pockets of opportunity. And I guarantee you're going to find little things that you could do with little to no effort that you're like, oh, wow, like all I have to do is turn this setting on. Oh, wow, all I have to do is, I'm a restaurant and I need to amp up my Google reviews. Oh, none of my servers are handing a card, when they hand the bill over, maybe you put a QR code on the bottom of that bill to say like, "Hey, scan this QR code and leave us a review," right? I mean, whatever that looks like. If you're a physical product, if somebody is buying something from you from a Shopify store and you're not getting them on an email list, where now, y'all, the amount of stuff you can segment your audience, right? And so, like, if I know that you're into buying, swimsuits, if I know that you're into buying whatever, then I can pitch you or sell you products down the road in line with that.
Customer journey. I love that one. So our last 12th day of marketing Christmas, it's going to be, y'all, you need to have 12 months next year in 2025, 12 months filled with consistent marketing. Marketing is about consistency. You cannot have 2 months filled with marketing and then do nothing for 4 months. Like that, your target audience is going to forget about you. They're going to lose interest. They're going to drop off. You need to be consistently showing up for people so that you can stay top of mind, so that they're more likely to shop with you.
Marketing is your lifeline to your business. It is the feeder to sales. It is the feeder to good publicity. It is the feeder to, like, all of that. And so what I just wanna remind you of is it is a high priority thing, okay? Do not deprioritize marketing. Do not act like it is an afterthought, because it is not. If it is an afterthought, your business is gonna reflect that. And so one of the best things you can do is just like, I'm gonna use a boring example, and it's one that half of you out there are gonna be like, "Ugh, like, I don't even wanna do that in my personal life," okay? Y'all, just like your health, alright? If you do not take Chelsea's like, "What? Where are you
I'm
going?"
like, where are you going with this? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just like in your personal life, if you do not prioritize your health, it's gonna get to the point where, like, over time, it comes to a point where you're not as effective in recouping it. It's a lot easier to maintain good, healthy habits, and that's the same thing for your marketing. Create healthy marketing habits so that your business does not suffer, and what that means is, what I would personally do is I would divide marketing initiatives. You guys have a clean slate. 2025 is right around the corner. Get paper out and draw a line down the center of it, and on one column, you're gonna have marketing initiatives that you should be doing 12 months no matter what, and on so that's gonna be the fixed, and then on the other side of that column is gonna be your variable marketing initiatives. That's gonna be the stuff that you're not doing all 12 months, but you're gonna sporadically intertwine that into the year, and the reason I say this is if you can do an email list, okay? If email marketing is gonna be one of the things that you focus on and you decide, "I wanna do this once a month," or, "I wanna do this, once a week," great, that's fixed. That is something that you need to be concentrating on 12 months out of the year. The variable stuff is gonna be like, "Hey, I wanna do, an ad for a quarter." Okay, well, you can, sprinkle that in there whenever the time is right. The fixed stuff is gonna be the stuff that you create the good habits around, alright? I need to know when I need to have my marketing email done,
Yeah.
and I need to know when I want to be releasing it. I want to be consistent in that, and I never think about it this way too. If you do monthly emails, y'all, that's only 12 emails, okay? So, like, I think it helps to put stuff in perspective.
And for our email list, the Season Marketer, if you are struggling a little bit with your marketing and marketing goals, Vivian adds a marketing goal for each email. So something to consider and focus on for that week.
Yeah, so I don't wanna hear y'all saying that we don't provide you with resources. We do, okay? Every week, if you sign up for our email list, every week at the very bottom, there's a section that's like the marketing goal of the week, and so basically the idea being that if once a week you have a marketing goal, you're gonna get through 52 actionable things that you are doing to stay on top of your marketing. That is super helpful when you break it down like that, y'all. But we just want you to understand that there is a relationship with you prioritizing your marketing and that your marketing needs to be top of brain 12 months out of a year, okay? So don't do this thing where you're like, "Great, in January, I'm gonna plan all of my marketing for 2025," and then you don't check back in until April. Don't be that person, all right?
Yeah.
And let me just make the pitch. If you guys are struggling with staying on top of it because you're like, "Vivian, I'm a small business owner. I can't be reading about all the crap on, how to stay up with all these social media platforms and writing my emails and doing all this and that." If you need a little help, join our SOB community, our small and business community. Like I said, it's $50 a month. We have weekly calls that are Q&A style where you guys could get in there, you can ask your marketing questions from 2 marketing professionals, and there are other community members in there that can also help to answer some of the questions. And so what we wanna do is we wanna do the community part of it where you guys feel like you have a place, a resource to go, and you're not doing this on your own, and there's a, bit of accountability there. We're gonna ask you every week like, "Hey, how's your marketing going? Hey, what are you doing?"
We're going to be in your business, but in a fun way. Okay, let's do the TLDL. If you are here and you didn't listen to the entire episode, but you're here because it's the too long didn't listen segment, then I'm glad that you're here getting the synopsis, the lowdown. But please, when you get a chance, go back and listen to this entire episode. 12 days of marketing Christmas. 1, you need to know your target audience. 2, we want you guys to tweak your marketing initiatives based off of data at least twice. 3, pick 3 initiatives at a time so you don't overcommit yourself and you can really focus on perfecting those marketing initiatives. 4, check up quarterly on your marketing. 5, go to 5 networking events in 2025. 6, we want you guys to try to practice gratitude at least 6 days a week. You get 1 free day to be angry at the world. 7, every 7 weeks, you need to look back at your data. Don't do it before 7 weeks. You need to give your marketing time to work, really. Time to work. 8, consider 8 marketing initiatives or strategies that you've never considered before and pick one so that you can step outside your comfort zone and try something new. 9 times a year, we want you guys to try to reach out to other small businesses in your community and be kind and personable and make connections. 10, get on your preferred social media platform, whichever you prefer to be on, and interact with at least 10 other people within your target audience. 11, visualize your journey start to end, your customer's journey. Visualize your customer's journey from them first discovering you to after they make a purchase. Not when they make a purchase, but what you're doing afterwards as well. 12 months filled with marketing. You need to be consistent. You can't just focus on marketing 3 months within the year. It needs to be 12 months of the year.
I love it. That was such a brief and concise wrap up. You guys, just one more reminder, if you got some value out of this podcast episode, please go ahead and follow us and subscribe and leave us a comment. Tell us how you're enjoying it, or leave us a comment telling us what other topics you want us to cover here in 2025. Chelsea and I have a whole slew of ideas, but we would love for you guys to help us decide.
Yeah.
So thanks again for listening, and
go be the best SOB you can be.